What's up, everyone? So I've had a lot of requests about people asking me to do a bench press video. Well, I'm definitely not known for being the best bench presser in the world. I feel like I have my own struggles there, and I found a couple of different ways for me, as far as the technique standpoint, getting set up that seems to really help me do a lot better for the bench press, and I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys today. And you'll notice I did label the video specifically me, how I like to do this, because bench press to me is a very unique lift. There's so many different types of, builds that people have, and to me, I think it's probably one of the most unique lifts to do because there's just so many different ways people get set up depending on how they're built, how long their legs are, how long their arms are, this and that. And so, I'm just going to kind of go through the best way that I know how to get set up for me, and way that I've showed several other people that seems to help them quite a bit too. I don't try to go into like a ton of detail here, but there's just going to be a couple of things that I like to sit here and consider whenever I do the bench press. So I feel like it's only fair that I do throw in my lifetime PR bench press here of 463 pounds or 210 kilograms using the same setup that I'm about to kind of show you guys here, just to, give myself a little bit of credit here that I do sort of know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so the first thing I like to do when I'm getting set up for the bench is, and it's kind of what I tell everybody to do, I get my feet set on the ground where I want them to be first. So it might kind of take you a little while. There's two ways to do it, and I'll show you the second way here in a second. But the way I like to do it the best is getting my feet set on the bench first. Now, I do bench with my heels off of the ground. I know there's like one or two federations that they make you have to have your feet flat, but pretty much most of the other ones are going to allow you to do this or let you do that. But it shouldn't really matter. This setup is going to kind of work the same for both those setups. And me, with having pretty long legs, it's pretty important for me to get the optimal amount of leg drive and to reduce as much slack through my entire body as I can to be able to put my legs back as far as I can. So that's really going to go a long way with that. And also, it's going to prevent my butt from coming up off of the bench. Because, with me having really long legs and stuff, my butt coming up off the bench is not hard to do. So I'll kind of show you what that looks like real quick. I mean, it'd be really easy for me to have my legs out here with like a lot of slack like that. And as soon as I were to go to, press, it's going to be really easy for my butt to come up off the bench. So if I can reduce that slack that I have throughout my entire body and just getting as tight as I can, one, it's going to make me stronger, and two, it's going to prevent my butt coming up from off the bench. And that's an issue I see with a lot of people. So, get my feet set back pretty much as far as I can, or basically like whatever's going to feel good for you. And then, right here, I like to bring my feet close enough together to where I'm pretty much like hugging the bench with my legs. I know it looks kind of weird, but yeah, kind of just getting after it right here. Yeah, no, I'm just hugging the bench with my legs, everything nice and tight, have my feet back pretty far. And then from here, I'm going to go lay down to get set up. I just reach back and grab the bar like this. This part doesn't really matter how you do it. So you'll notice my feet don't move. They do stay in the same position. And then from here, I pull myself more underneath the bar because, again, I want to reduce all the slack in my body and get everything nice and tight and everything as involved as possible because, bench is obviously a lot of legs too. So, I don't want to be really flat like this. I don't want to have my back flat. And I do want to get like a decent amount of an arch. So how I do that is, I can even go back like this and then pull myself back to the bar and really try to force my shoulders towards my hips and bring that rib cage up. Squeeze my shoulder blades together as much as I can because you obviously want your shoulders to be pretty much immobilized here, because if they're out here, they're going to be able to move pretty freely like this. But if you tuck them back like this, one, is going to make your press stronger. Two, is going to keep your shoulders just a little bit safer. So yeah, just like that. So you'll see I have a nice little arch here, and it's important for me to have my legs back as far as I can, and to push my shoulders towards my hips as much as I can. Squeeze my shoulder blades together and just bring my chest up like this. And then from there, we're in a pretty good spot to press, and we have tightness throughout our whole body, no slack anywhere, and all in all, it feels like a pretty powerful position for me. So just to like show you the difference real quick between, you know, just laying down flat, typically how you'd see most people in like a commercial gym or somebody who doesn't have a whole lot of experience lifting, compared to getting set up for a powerlifting bench press. So yes, this is a powerlifting bench press. Yes, we're going to arch a little bit, and that's okay. All right, so just kind of, if you're just to kind of lay down and do it, I want you to see the difference in my range of motion here. So, because obviously we're trying to reduce the range of motion a little bit, because, or as much as we can, because we're powerlifters. We're just trying to move more weight, and we're trying to do it move the weight more efficiently and safely. So, this is just kind of what it looks like. Shoulders are loose, lots of slack, you know, on my feet. It's gonna be real easy for my butt to come up off of the bench. You know, all this and that. And I want you to see, you know, my range of motion here. It's pretty far, you know, pretty far range of motion. Now, I'm gonna go get set up for my optimal position and get my arch, and then, you know, I'm just trying to bring that chest up, the rib cage up as much as I can, you know, to make myself stronger and a little bit more efficient and reduce the range of motion. So all three of those things are going to make you a lot stronger in the press. So go back and then force my shoulders down towards my hips, scoot my shoulders back, tuck them back tight. So you can see clearly a lot shorter range of motion there compared to, you know, this. And when you're lifting, you know, a maximum amount of weight, that's definitely going to go a really long way. All right, so now we're going to kind of move on to a few of the cues that I like to use and think about during the execution of the lift. So now that we got the setup down, you know, get everything tight, you know, as much as we can, no slack in our body, this and that. Now it's time to go execute the lift a little bit. So starting off, whenever we unrack it, the first thing I want to cover is going to be, you know, you don't want to, obviously, this might be common sense for some people, but I still see a lot of people do this. So I'm just throwing this out there. You know, I see a lot of people kind of, you know, they bench out here, try to just think about using those chest and the shoulders a lot. But really, you know, a natural movement pattern for your arms is going to be a little bit more like, you know, as you bring the bar down, those elbows are going to kind of tuck in like this. They obviously don't want to be, you know, tucked way in like this. That's not going to be very efficient. But yeah, so, you know, I like to just kind of tuck them in a little bit at the bottom and then press them out at the top. And I also like to think that I'm pushing them up a staircase. And I'll show you in a second kind of what that looks like on the bar. But basically, you know, you bring the bar out to where you're going to start with, and bring it straight down, tuck those elbows in, and as you push up, you're almost going to kind of push it back, up and back towards your face. And as you push up, your elbows are slowly going to flare out. So you don't want them to, you know, flare out right from the beginning like that. But you do want to, you know, as you push, they are going to kind of go out a little bit and back. So down, back, just like that. All right, so I'll just kind of show you what that bar path looks like real quick. All right, so, you know, Brandon Lilly teaches this. He says, depending on, like, where you want to bring the bar down to, you just kind of move it around like this until it feels weightless in your hands. So for me, that's going to be about right there. So from here, I'll go down straight, and I don't want to be right here with my elbows. I want to have them, when I get to the bottom, nice and tight back like this, and then push them back. Push the bar back towards my face, almost like I'm pushing it up like a small little staircase. So start here, finish closer to over my face. Start here, finish closer over to my face. So yeah, it's just going to be elbows tucked, and push, and then they're slowly going to flare out to the top like that. So just a nice little, almost like you're throwing a punch, like rotating your hand like that, except for your hands obviously aren't going to rotate. You're just going to do that with your elbows. Alright, so I don't really want to yammer on too much because there's a lot of good bench press videos already, but the last two things I want to talk about just briefly, there's already tons of good videos about them, so I'm just going to cover them just a little bit, because to me personally, you know, learning how to bench press and getting the most out of my bench was, you know, the hardest things for me to learn were, you know, the best leg drive and how to really use my back. It sounds kind of, you know, the idea of using your back for a bench press just seems kind of strange if you've never really done it before or really thought of that idea. But once you figure out how to do, you know, your best leg drive and your best lat engagement for the bench, that's really going to go a long way. So, and this kind of, both the leg drive and the lat engagement tie back to how I like to get set up, having no slack in my body, having my feet back as far behind me as possible, making sure there's no slack in my body, getting everything nice and tight, and, you know, keeping my shoulders tucked back enough is going to really help me use my lats the best, and having my feet behind me and my butt glued to the bench like that and everything really tight is going to help me get the best leg drive possible. So, you know, what I think about, like, with the lat engagement is, you know, like when I'm benching, I almost think about, like, pulling my chest to the bar. You know, I try to make it as hard as I can to bring the bar down to my chest. And for me, that's really helped quite a bit. And, you know, the tighter I can start with my back and shoulder blades tucked back and down in the bench press, you know, the more tightness I'm going to be able to get. And it gets to the point to where it's almost even hard to, I have to have a certain amount of weight to even bring a bar down to my chest if I'm squeezing hard enough. And then I'm going to show y'all right quick kind of what that looks like, you know, with the leg drive and the lat engagement together. Okay, and then what I want you guys to pay attention to here is that so I'm just going to say it first and then I'll demonstrate. So as I bring the bar down, you're going to see, like, as the bar kind of comes down, the more my chest is going to rise. So bringing my chest to the bar, and then the more engaged my feet are going to be, or the harder they're going to be pressing into the ground, the more I bring the bar down, and the tighter they're going to be. So that's why I'm doing both of these together, because I think lat engagement and leg drive go together very well for the bench. So let's see what that looks like real quick. So I'm going to go through my little setup. Making sure my shoulder blades are tucked as tight as they can be. And then you'll watch as I bring the bar down, my legs get tighter and my chest comes up. So my chest isn't going to come up like a whole lot, but you'll see, you know, when I bring it down like that, I push harder into the ground and pull myself up to the bar as much as I can. That way when I'm ready to press, it's just all this stopping power and tightness on my chest, and then just kind of let it go, just like that. So yeah, pretty much that's all I think about whenever I bench press. So pretty much kind of covers everything that I think about while I'm doing the lift.
So one more thing that I kind of want to mention there for that bench press is that I forgot to mention when I was at the gym, but I do like to think about, like, you know, as far as when I'm executing the lift, whenever I start to press, all I think about doing is just driving my elbows. I really think about just trying to just push those elbows up as much as I can, not really thinking about using my chest a whole lot or my shoulders or anything like that. I like to just, you know, think like I'm a T-Rex with these short little arms, and just think about just pressing my elbows up and driving my elbows up and out as fast as I can. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. You know, I do plan on doing a couple other bench press videos, maybe more specifically geared towards people who are built more like me as far as getting stronger for the bench press, like, you know, bench pressing with these really long arms that I have, and ways that I found to get better, ways that I found to prevent myself from getting hurt. You know, with my long bench stroke, it seems to pull on my pecs quite a bit. So I will probably make a later video about that if you guys would be interested in that. So there's definitely a lot to cover with the bench press, but, you know, I just wanted to go through the simple little things that, you know, I know as far as getting set up. So thanks for watching, guys.